fluorescent lights of all-night pharmacy buzzed like dying insects. Daniel Choi wiped down the counter for the third time that hour, his reflection warped in the bulletproof glass behind the prescription drugs. The digital clock read 2:17 a.m. His phone buzzed. Another text from his girlfriend, Mia. "You okay? That guy from earlier still lurking outside?" Daniel glanced at the security monitor. The parking lot was empty, except for his dented Honda. "Probably just some drunk," he typed back. Then the door chimed. A man stood in the threshold, gaunt as a cancer patient, his coat hanging off skeletal shoulders. His right hand was buried deep in his pocket. "Sorry, sir," Daniel said automatically. "We're closing early tonight." The man stepped inside. The door locked behind him with a click. "I just need one thing," the man rasped. Up close, he smelled like antiseptic and stale sweat. His pupils were pinpricks. Daniel's fingers hovered near the panic button under the counter. "I can call a hospital if you—" The man's hand jerked from his pocket. A revolver gleamed under the fluorescence. "Oxymorphone. Now." Daniel's throat went dry. The security camera's red light blinked steadily. "They'll see this," he thought. "They'll call the cops." But the man coughed violently, flecking the counter with blood. When he looked up, his eyes were wet. "I'm dying," he whispered, "and you're the only one who can help me." The gun trembled in the man's grip. Daniel noticed the hospital bracelet still clinging to his wrist. Paul M. Vanderleer, room 407. "You think I want to do this?" Paul hissed. "I was an accountant. I filed taxes. Now I'm here because your little pharmacy is the only one stocking that goddamn painkiller within 50 miles. Daniel's eyes flicked to the oxy shelf behind him. The safe required a manager's code. "Look, Paul, don't say my name like you know me." Paul slammed his free hand on the counter. The gun wobbled. "You don't know what it's like watching your own lungs drown you. The doctors gave me 3 weeks. 3 weeks of agony unless—" A wet cough doubled him over. The gun dipped, just for a second. Daniel's fingers twitched toward the panic button. Paul straightened, panting. "I'm not leaving without it." He slid a folded photo across the counter. A little girl in a sunflower dress. "My daughter. She's 8. If I don't make it to Christmas—" Daniel's throat tightened. The security camera kept recording. "I can't open the safe," he lied. "But what if I give you something stronger? No paperwork." He reached slowly for the fentanyl patches under the register. Paul's eyes narrowed. "You're lying." The gun cocked. A voice crackled from the parking lot intercom. "Everything okay in there?" Paul whirled toward the sound, and Daniel lunged. Daniel's shoulder connected with Paul's ribs, sending them both crashing into a shelf of cough syrup. Glass shattered. The gun skidded across the linoleum. Paul gasped. A wet, rattling sound. As Daniel scrambled for the weapon, his fingers brushed cold metal, just as Paul's hand clamped around his ankle and yanked. Daniel's chin hit the floor. Pain exploded through his jaw. Above him, Paul wheezed, blood speckling his lips. "You don't understand," Paul choked out. "I don't want to die." Screaming. The gun lay between them. Daniel kicked free and grabbed it. Daniel pointed the revolver at Paul's chest. His hands shook. "Stay down." Paul didn't move. His breath came in shallow hitches. Then, slowly, he rolled up his sleeve. Track marks, dozens of them. "I was clean for 6 years," Paul whispered. "Then the diagnosis, the pain. I couldn't." His voice broke. "I'm not here to hurt you. I just can't do it alone." Daniel's grip on the gun faltered. A siren wailed in the distance. Paul's eyes locked onto his. "Please." The wail of police sirens sliced through the night, growing louder. Red and blue lights flashed through the pharmacy's front windows, throwing jagged shadows across the wreckage of the shattered shelves. Daniel's finger hovered over the trigger. Paul hadn't moved, just knelt there, his sunken eyes pleading. The gun between them felt heavier now. "They'll shoot him on sight," Daniel realized. A dying man with a weapon. No questions asked. Paul coughed again, a thick, wet sound. "They'll kill me," he rasped. "You know they will." Daniel swallowed hard. The sirens were blocks away now. Chapter 8. The Choice. Daniel exhaled sharply, then tossed the gun behind the counter. It clattered out of sight. "Get up," he hissed. "Now." Paul stared, uncomprehending. Daniel grabbed his arm and hauled him toward the employee bathroom at the back of the store. He shoved Paul inside, then turned just as the front door burst open. 2 officers stormed in, guns drawn. "Hands where we can see them." Daniel raised his arms, heart hammering. Behind him, the bathroom door clicked shut. The officers swept the pharmacy with tactical precision, their flashlights cutting through the dim glow of emergency lights. The taller cop, Officer Reyes, according to his badge, kept his weapon trained on Daniel, while his partner checked behind the counter. "What happened here?" Reyes demanded, eyeing the broken glass and overturned shelves. Daniel's mouth went dry. "Robbery attempt. Guy took off when he heard your sirens." The partner emerged from behind the counter, holding the revolver in an evidence bag. "This yours?" Daniel shook his head. He dropped it. Rhea's eyes narrowed. You're telling me a desperate man left his gun behind? From the bathroom, a muffled thud echoed. Both officers snapped toward the sound. Daniel's pulse roared in his ears as Reyes motioned his partner toward the bathroom. The door creaked open. Empty. The small window above the toilet was wide open, curtains fluttering in the night breeze. A trail of blood droplets led to the sill. Reyes radioed for backup, but Daniel was already moving, snatching the photo of Paul's daughter from the counter before anyone could notice. As the cops rushed outside, Daniel unfolded the crumpled picture, scrawled on the back in shaky handwriting. Thank you. Tell Lily I tried. The police left just before dawn, taking the revolver and Daniel's statement. The security footage would show the truth. Mostly. But as Daniel locked the pharmacy's shattered doors, the weight of what he'd done settled on his shoulders like a physical thing. His phone buzzed. Mia. You alive? Daniel stared at the message, then at the blood stain on the floor where Paul had knelt. His fingers hovered over the keys before typing. Need to tell you something. Then he pocketed the photo. The news played on the break room TV. Police searching for terminally ill suspect in failed pharmacy robbery, considered armed and dangerous. A grainy security still of Paul flashed on screen. Daniel's coffee turned to acid in his stomach. Behind him, the store manager flipped through the damage report. Lucky you didn't get killed, he muttered. Daniel's fingers found the photo in his pocket. Lily's smile. Tell Lily I tried. The blood droplets had led out back toward the train tracks. Daniel made his choice. The railroad embankment behind the pharmacy was littered with beer cans and weeds, glowing silver under the pre-dawn sky. Daniel picked his way down the slope, phone flashlight cutting through the mist. Then he saw it. A streak of crimson on the rusty tracks. His pulse hammered as he followed the trail to a drainage culvert. Inside, curled against the concrete like a wounded animal. Paul. The man wasn't moving. Daniel crouched, reaching out. Paul's hand shot up, gripping his wrist with terrifying strength. You followed. His breath smelled like copper. The gun was back in his other hand. Daniel froze. I brought your photo. Paul's grip slackened. The gun dipped. She's not real, he whispered. What? The girl. Made her up, so you'd... Paul's laugh turned into a cough. Worked, didn't it? Daniel recoiled. The lie should have made him angry, but Paul's face, raw with pain and shame, stopped him. Why this? Daniel gestured to the gun. Why not just OD? Paul's smile was ghastly. Tried. Liver's too fucked to die. He pressed the gun into Daniel's palm. "You do it." The metal burned against Daniel's skin. The gun trembled between them. Dawn bled pink across the tracks. Daniel stared at Paul's sunken face, the sweat on his brow, the yellowed whites of his eyes. A man already half gone. He exhaled sharply, then tossed the gun into the culvert. It landed with a metallic clatter. Paul made a wounded sound. "You coward!" "No," Daniel said, pulling out his phone. "I'm calling an ambulance." Paul grabbed his arm. "They'll pump me full of shit that burns, and you'll live long enough to find a better story than Lily." Daniel dialed 911. "One that's true?" Sirens wailed in the distance. Paul slumped against the concrete, eyes closed. Whether in resignation or relief, Daniel couldn't tell. When the paramedics came, the gun was gone. 1 month later, the pharmacy installed new security cameras. Daniel quit. On his last shift, a nurse came in, one he recognized from the ER. "Your friend?" she said quietly. "He made it 3 more weeks. Asked me to give you this." A folded napkin. Inside, a single word. "Thanks." Daniel left it on the counter when he walked out.